Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the Yankees Den podcast. The Yankees win by a score of 12-4. And listen, they looked absolutely great tonight. It was great to see that their offense finally broke out and got things going, and they split the series versus the Tampa Bay Rays. Now they don't lose ground, they don't gain ground, but I thought that they were going to split, and I'll take a split over a series loss. If you lost today, you lost the season series. So way to stay alive and not lose the tiebreaker in a sense, right? So now you're still alive. You have one more 4 game set with them. Hopefully by then Judge will be back. It's after the deadline, so you'll be much better suited. And hopefully you could take that series and make things really interesting. Hopefully, if we're not already ahead of the AL East, which I hope we are looking ahead into the future. But let's get on with this recap, and then we'll get into our notes. We have a lot to talk about tonight in tonight's episode. But the pitching, we had a bullpen game actually tonight, and Blackburn starts it off. He goes 2 innings of one run ball. He has 3 strikeouts. Bird gets 2 outs, but he gives up 2 runs. Yarbrough comes in. He goes to scoreless frame. Doval gets 2 outs, no runs. He has a walk. Brett Hedrick goes an inning and 2/3 innings pitched. He gives up 1 run but has 3 strikeouts. Angel Chavilli, who's been really good, and we'll actually talk about that, goes hit, no hit, scoreless innings with 3 strikeouts and no walks. And Tim Hill closes it out for the Yankees. Now, getting into the offense, the day starts off with the Rays jumping ahead 1-0 in the first on a Caminero home run. He's just absurd. He's insane. He's absolutely so fun to watch as well. I hate that he's on the Rays, but he is so fun to watch. But then we jump into the third, where McMahon works a great at bat. Now, this is a phenomenal at bat, probably his best at bat of the year. He stays locked in, he fights off pitch after pitch. Rasmussen, whatever. There's a guy on second, Schumann, who actually led the inning off with the double, and Rasmussen keeps going away with the fastball. He doesn't want Ryan McMahon to pull the ball, because even if he pulls the ball and he gets him out, it moves the runner over to third and he's 90 feet closer. So Rasmussen was trying to stay away the whole time, and then McMahon finally got a pitch he could handle, and he doubles down the right field line and scores Schumann, and now it's tied 1-1. Then Wells hits a fly ball, moving McMahon from second to third base, and then Trent Grisham comes through with an RBI single, 2-1 Yankees. Still in that inning, the Yankees aren't done. Ben Rice hits a 2-run homer on what looked like it might have been overturned from the naked eye, but after further review, it did just go over and sneak over and hit the second wall, second fencing, whatever you want to call it, in Tropicana, and it's a home run. And it shows it went out. Then we're not done. Jason Dominguez runs out an infield single to Jonathan Aranda, first base, and he hustles. It was a sharp ground ball, too. So it's great hustle that you love to see, especially out of a young player like Dominguez. He gets an infield single, and he gets the first. Bellinger gets a nice little cheeky infield hit as well. And it's first and third with 1 out, and Cabby hits an RBI single with Belly stealing. They go first and third, 5-1 Yankees. They knock out Drew Rasmussen in the third inning. That is huge. An all-star. Hopefully this gets them going a little bit. Then Jazz gets a sac fly. 6-1 Yankees in the third inning. After the top of the third, 6-1 Yankees. Now at the bottom of the half of the inning, Jake Bird comes in, and he needs to be set to Jupiter. But he comes in, works himself into a bases loaded, no out jam with Caminero up. Bird gets a double play hit to Cabby. Cabby takes it himself to turn it. They sacrifice a run for the double play. Of course they would. And they have 2 outs, 6-2 ball game. Then Yarbrough comes in and allows an RBI double with 2 outs. 6-3 now with the Rays creeping back up in the third. Then in the fourth inning, Austin Wells, if you couldn't believe it, Austin Wells hit a home run. He finally did something productive. And the Yankees are leading 7-3. Ben Rice then in the sixth, his second home run of the day is a 3-run shot, making it 10-3. He's been heating up as of late. You love to see that. He got out of his rut. He got cold for a little bit. Now he's out of his rut and back to normal. Yankees in the sixth, Ben Rice awoken them. He got them off the ground and he blew the door wide open. Then in the bottom half, Williams gets an RBI to score Simpson from third, 10-4 now after the sixth. In the seventh inning, with Max Schumann on again for Ryan McMahon hits another RBI double, 11-4 Yankees. Then Bellinger in the top of the eighth inning, gets an RBI single, 12-4 Yankees. They hold it down. The Rays do no more, and the Yankees win, and they split the series against a gritty Tampa Bay Rays team. And our first comment, thank you for being in here. Celia says, hey, Lorenzo, honestly, I still don't feel like the team is good enough as much as I want to believe in them. And listen, Celia, right now, they're probably not good enough. But I do think they will be good enough, and they could be really good after the deadline if Cashman makes the moves necessary. But I get what you're saying. Yes, right now, it's a little hard to believe that they split, but they got swept from Boston. They lost a series to Detroit. They lost a series to the Twins. We got to see now because this is just one game. It's one series. Yes, it's against the Rays and their first place, but you would have liked to see them take the series. They went quiet for 2 days. I mean, they scored 5 runs the first game and then they went completely cold. So do they score 12 runs and now they're going to be cold tomorrow against Washington? We got to see how they react, but I could see this offense start to get hot again because this is what the Yankees do. They get extremely cold and then they'll get sizzling hot and draw you back in. You'll be like, this team stinks. Why am I wasting my time watching this team? Anthony Volpe, fire everyone, ship out the whole front office, send everybody packing, rebuild, and then they'll get hot again and you'll be like, the Yankees. I love you guys. I love what's going on right now. Keep it going. I want to see more of this. This is fun. Let's go to a game. But listen, this team is not complete. This is far from the playoff roster. So we just got to scratch across wins when we can and find ways however we can. And we did it today off of Drew Rasmussen, arguably the Rays ace along with McClanahan when healthy, but off of a good pitcher. I could see this starting something and a ball and moves the ball to start rolling a little bit, and maybe they start getting hot again and showing you what they're capable of. Celia again follows up. Just seeing how bad the offense performed over these 2 weeks kind of shocked me. Yeah, I mean, listen, Celia, this is the first time during the 21 games stretch, that they scored 5+ runs. So let's hope that they start to break through. Ben Rice is getting hot again. Guys are starting to fall into place. And actually going into Paulo M's comment says, see how everything falls into place when Volpe is not on the field? See, everything's starting to fall into place. Guys are getting healthier in Grisham and McMahon. Spots are being limited now. You can't move Caballero all over. And he started 3 out of the 4 games at Tropicana, and they won 2 of them that he started. And he made a nice sliding play. Yes, he did have one that he booted that bounced off of him when he was running. right, to the backhand, but it wasn't like an insanely easy play. But he also makes up for it. He's not inconsistent. So he's going to make an error every once in a while, especially when he's not playing the position consistently. But Paulo M, yes, everything falls into place when Volpe is not there. They play much better brand of baseball, especially in the infield. The infield looks better. And can we note Cody Bellinger played first base today and actually saved a run with Jazz Chisholm at first base for his first start at first base this season. And he hasn't really played there much for the Yankees, but that just shows you his flexibility and how good his glove is anywhere you stick him. And I was actually surprised and shocked that the New York Yankees played Bellinger at first base and they played Schumann in left field instead of moving Schumann to or Caballero to the outfield and then starting Volpe. So that was really shocking to see, and I love to see that. And what do you know? The day, and we're gonna get into this, the day Brian Cashman comes in and he's in attendance and he speaks, the team gets a fire lit under them. And they score 12 runs. And Volpe's not in the lineup. Now, Celia, going to your comment, I actually like the idea of Schumann playing out there in the field and Belly playing at first. They should keep it like that for a couple days and see if the consistency helps. Yeah, I do like that too. And this is the thing. And the reason why you could have started Ben Rice at catcher and you didn't have to make him a first baseman. Because the reality is, if you move Bellinger to first base and you start Rice the year off at catcher and you build him up the whole offseason at catcher and he's hitting great. He hit great when he was at catcher last year. Now you have another spot open in the outfield for Spencer Jones, a Jason Dominguez, a young guy, or if you go sign a good player, you have another option, right? Even though Goldschmidt was playing good and I wanted him to get at bats and every day playing time at first base and DH, whatever it was. If you're playing Belly at first and you're DHing Ben Rice until Paul Goldschmidt gets a few games and tries to break out of his slump, I'm fine with that. But like you mentioned, I love Max Schumann. I absolutely love this guy. When he came up and they brought him up, I was like, who is this no name Max Schumann? He has proved me wrong since I've seen him come up, and he's been gritty. He grinds out at bats. He has a great eye. He's not selfish. He won't. He today I saw with a person on third base and 2 outs. He struck out on a questionable pitch. It was in the zone, but it could have been something he tapped on. He didn't tap. He wasn't selfish. Jazz Chisholm would have tapped, but he's a very team-friendly player. He helps the team, he plays for the team, and he picks his guys up. Do you see him in the outfield? Every time he's in the outfield, he dives for a ball, even if it's completely far away from him. He dives and tries and gives you 110% effort. I mean, that's what this Yankee team needs, even with everyone healthy. They need a guy like Max Schumann. And Max Schumann has to stay on the bench and has to be a player on the bench when they ride into October. That is the perfect guy. I can see Max Schumann being the difference in a playoff game. Coming up, having a great at bat, moving the baton, someone else coming up and driving in runs. Or him making a spectacular play, going all out, giving 110% effort. That's a guy that you need. Now, Paul, going into your comment, Schumann should definitely be out there. Sit Jazz, ship Volpe to the Philippines with his mother's family. That's hilarious. I can't. But yeah, I would ship out, like I said in yesterday's live, I would ship out Anthony Volpe. And I am 100% on board with you. I said this the other day. I think it was the second game against the lefty. I would have sat Jazz and played Schumann at second and still had Cabby, or it was a third game, and still had Cabby at short instead of put Volpe at short. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that they should ship out Jazz and Volpe. I don't think neither of them are going to help the team in the future and in the postseason. Even if Jazz stays on the team, I don't think he's going to be much help. Obviously, I would love for him to prove me wrong, especially if they're in the postseason. I want them to go to the World Series, and whoever can help make that happen, please do. But getting on with our notes is I wanted to say they don't lose any ground, like I said before, and they don't gain any ground. They stay even. And that's a great job because you come in, you're down a starter. Do I think you should have won this series? Yes, because you made Ian Seymour look like Sandy Koufax. But you split the series. It's not the end of the world. You're still only 4 games back. Now you got to build off of this and start climbing up there a little bit. The bullpen does a good job this series. And today they only allowed 4 runs in a bullpen game. And you faced Drew Rasmussen. The offense did an even better job. They did spectacular today. And it's so nice to be able to come on here and talk about a win where the offense finally explodes and we didn't just sneak by. We had errors. It was a sloppy game, but we just squeaked by. And it was bad pitching. They played good all around today. And I feel like this series, they could have won every game. They could have swept this series if their offense was just a little bit better. They should have put some of these runs to the days before. But great job from them to come out against Rasmussen and attack him early, know the game plan, ambush his pitches, and work great at bats. And like I said, score more than 5 runs for the first time in a 21-game stretch. And Brian Cashman talked before the game and was in attendance. Did that have something to do with Wells homering? Was he like, oh shoot, the GM's here, I'm gonna be traded. Let me give him a little bit of a home run. Let me leave him with a little bit of a taste in his mouth. A good taste. That I just homered. Maybe he'll give me 5 more weeks of starting play. But Paul says definitely I can see Schumann coming through like a Stephen Kwan in a moment in the playoffs. Yes, totally agree. Stephen Kwan actually is having a very poor year, like down year, and I think that might be a sneaky under the radar Yankees trade. I would make good defender. He does make contact. I think he would be a little bit of a sneaky player. But Celia says, problem with this team is there are too many inconsistent players. Bellinger, Grisham, McMahon, Wells, Volpe. It would be nice to get a couple consistent bats or consistent contact bats. Now, listen, Celia, I disagree with you on one person in that, and that's Bellinger, because he's been phenomenal since becoming a Yankee. He's going to get into a cold stretch. It's going to happen. Ben Rice just did, and now he's broken out and he's fine. I do want to see it from Cody Bellinger. And Cody Bellinger did go 2 for 5 today. He had an RBI. Ben Rice went 2 for 4. Grisham went 2 for 5. He's honestly been hitting since he came back, and before he was injured, he was hitting. Dominguez went 2 for 4. Max Schumann went 2 for 4 as well. Caballero went 1 for 4. He got an RBI. Chisholm got a sac fly. McMahon went 2 for 5. So guys are starting to hit. McMahon has actually, he was 2 for 9 coming in. So what? He was 2 for 5. So he's 11 for, what? He was 2 for 5 today. So he's 11 for 14 or 11 for 14. I said 4 for 14. I mean, that's not bad. So he's been better, and with his glove, you take that, right? And yes, I understand with Grisham. Obviously, Wells and Volpe, they need to be shipped out. And the consistent contact bats, yeah, you go out and get a Luis Ariz, that fixes that problem major. You go out and get someone under the radar like a Brooks Lee. If you don't know who that is because he's kind of under the radar, go look up highlights. Go look him up. Look up his K percentage. He strikes out way less. He's like a Caballero-esque player. He's scrappy, switch hitter, I believe. He doesn't play the best defense, but we need offense right now. And would I want to take McMahon out of third base? No. But if you could insert Brooks Lee on your bench, or he could play a few games, or you chip out Jazz, maybe include him for a starter, and if you didn't get in a rise, you play Brooks Lee at second, I could see it. Not a bad idea. Going on, Celia says, if Will Warren didn't crap the bed, I think they could have taken 3 from exactly. Exactly. They could have taken 3 from 4 if he didn't crap the bed. And even yesterday, they only lost 3-0. And all of those were on Cole. And that's not a bad outing at all. The Yankees didn't do anything or capitalize. So they could have won every single game. But yes, if Will Warren didn't absolutely have an atrocious outing, then yes, they could have taken 3 from 4. And Paul says consistency comes when you play constantly in the same position, in the same spot in the lineup, etc. Stop platooning, guys. Stop changing positions. This is not Little League. And I 100% agree with that. You want to know why? Because even for me, I'm a college player, and I knew where I was batting, and sometimes I didn't know where I was playing because I was a bit of a utility guy. Sometimes I would play second, third, or I would DH some days. Now, coming in, I can tell you when I played high school, I knew where I was going to be and where I was going to bat, and I felt much more comfortable going into the game. You show up to the field, you don't even have to look at the board. You know what's going on. Okay, I'm at second base, I'm leading off. Okay, I'm at second base, I'm batting 9. I'm at shortstop, I'm batting 9. I'm third base, I'm batting 5th. You know that's your spot already. Like Trent Grisham comes in, he knows when I'm starting consistently and I'm not coming back from injury. I'm leading off playing center field. All right, great. Show up to the field. You're comfortable. When you're Caballero and they tell you, well, you're going to be moving around, and you come to the locker room every day and you're looking up left field, center field. I've never played there. Second base, third base, shortstop, catcher, if they ever did. But listen, when it's like that, then yeah, you're not as comfortable. But that's why, like, to your point, Paul, there needs to be consistency. And it needs to always be like that. And listen, Caballero, when he was starting at shortstop every single game, was playing phenomenal. And even when he was asked to move around for Volpe, he's been getting hits. He at least gets a hit a game. And he works good at bats. And he makes good plays. And now he's back at shortstop. He had a 2-home run day back at shortstop the first game. Today he had an RBI single. He still does his job. And he bunts, which I love. I love that so much. The small ball. Play to your strengths. Volpe doesn't. He tries to be a big guy and go yard. So Paul also says Bellinger needs to do something in the playoffs. That's where he's weak. I 100% agree. That's where majority of this lineup is weak. Aaron Judge hasn't proven he could do something in the playoffs except for last year. And then everybody crapped the bed except for him, of course. Trent Grisham didn't do anything last postseason. Bellinger didn't do anything last postseason. Ben Rice struggled a bit in the postseason. McMahon actually came through in the postseason. Jazz Chisholm doesn't do anything in the postseason. Caballero, well, we don't know because Volpe started in the postseason last year. Then we have to get a new catcher. But I can tell you, if Judge hits like he did last postseason and it finally clicked for him, then you have Ben Rice. Again, he's not getting unlucky and he's swinging it better. He grew a lot, had a lot of growth. He starts swinging it well. Then you get in a rise. You know he's going to still make contact. Contact's not going to go away. Then Stanton, he does, even though he's injured and it's frustrating, and they, I think, should start exploring his contract and try and trade him. He's been clutch, and he's a known postseason performer. Ryan McMahon performed in the postseason last year when you needed him the most. Caballero, I can see being an Ernie Clement type of guy. And then you get a catcher. So you can be good. And Bellinger, yes, needs to step up and make that next step. So does Max Fried going into the pitching side. He needs to make that next step as well. But Bellinger does. I want to see him wake up first, get some guys around him, make some moves in the deadline, get a little up, get into the playoffs, ride hot, and start getting in a hot streak. Bellinger, especially him, because we're going to need him to make a run. Celia says, I agree with that, but remember the Cubs basically gave away Bellinger for free, and he didn't really hit last year in the postseason. Yes, but the Cubs gave him away for free to free up money. So that was honestly a good trade for us. We traded away Cody Petit and took on the rest of his contract, and Bellinger was great for us last year, and he's been solid for us this year. He's just hitting a cold stretch. So I wouldn't give up on him. And yes, he didn't hit in the postseason. His numbers haven't been historically good in the postseason, but we got to start seeing that change in the pinstripes. And Celia actually brings up a comment that was on my notes, and I was actually going to bring up later into this episode. But she says, Brian Cashman said today that Lombard Jr. may be a factor in the second half for the Yankees, so they can improve from within as well. And yes, and we're going to get into that a little more because I want to touch up on a little more notes. But Celia, he did say that, and I'm actually excited and a little worried if that happens because I don't want him to be rushed like Volpe was. But we're going to get into that. Trust me, we will. Paul says, it's sad but true, but since Volpe came back, this team has been streaky. Judge was down, and we still were playing great. Once Cabby got hurt and they brought that jinx, back, the dynamic changed. You're 100% right. I said this on one of my previous lives. He is a jinx. They got to move on from him. If he goes somewhere else and he does good, that's not the Yankees' problem because you couldn't have predicted that. Looking in hindsight, if he does good, then you could say, oh, well, the Yankees should have just waited and hold it on and move. No, he didn't do it for us. If he works out somewhere else, then so be it. New York might just be too much pressure for the kid. He might not be able to hand the spotlight like he thought he would be able to. And maybe he moves to second base on another team. But yes, I 100% agree with you. Now, moving on with our notes is still going off of the offense a little bit. They explode for 12 runs against Rasmussen, who's an all-star, mind you. I want to keep bringing that up just to put in your head that the Yankees have been struggling, and this is how they get hot. They get cold, and then they get hot, and this is usually how it starts. They'll have a good game against a good pitcher, and then they'll start going on a little bit of a run. But it would be good to start building off of this, of course. And you know what they did today? Guess what the Yankees did today? Yes, Ben Rice hit 2 home runs, but they didn't rely on the home runs because they scored well before that. You know what they did? They played small ball today. That 2 home runs from Rice. They bunted in the series, but you know what I mean, right? They were stacked flies, situational hitting, hit and run through the right side, Cabby, with Bellinger stealing, stolen bases, working counts, tipping pitches, making the pitchers work, making the starter Rasmussen work. That's what this Yankees team was doing in the beginning. And even after Judge went down, when you were like, this team's still good. That's what they were doing, playing small ball. This Yankees team has kind of shifted. Yet it's still power dominant. But they've shifted. They've gotten guys. Like, even though we hate on Jazz sometimes, because he does play stupid sometimes, but to his credit, he is quick. He does steal bases. Dominguez steals bases. Caballero steals bases. He bunts. Schumann could bunt. Bellinger could steal bases. Bellinger's a slap hitter. They've moved on a little bit, not completely power focused. So they can play to their strengths like they were at the beginning of the year, and that's what they got to get back to. Play the bunt ball like the Rays do. The Rays, most of their lineup, aside from Aranda, Diaz, and Caminero, most of the guys have a below 700 OPS, but you know what they do? They don't care about slugging. That's for guys like Austin Wells, who was atrocious last year, but he could say I had a 700 OPS, so I was league average. It doesn't matter to them because you know what they do? They play small. They bunt the ball. They're situational. They'll sacrifice outs. They'll sacrifice their batting average to help the team win. They'll put the ball in play. They rely on contact. They rely on you to make bad. They force you to make bad plays. And that's why a team like this team and the Blue Jays last year were so deadly in the playoffs. You want to know why? And it'll be really rough if you get into the playoffs with the Rays. I'm not going to be honest. No matter what you do at the deadline, you're going to have to play them tough. And it honestly, they may not be the best team in the playoffs, but they might be the toughest one you face if you went all the way. And the reason I say that is because they're going to make you work in the spotlight, in the moment, the biggest stage of the playoffs, and they're going to force you to make hard decisions and get hard outs and execute when you need to. That's why it's going to be so hard, because they're going to grind you down. They're going to break you down in the biggest stage. And that's when it matters. That's why this contact first approach works in baseball. And it's not the power approach. And why is this a saying? Put the ball in play, things happen. When you put the ball in play, things happen. The defense makes mistakes. They're not going to be stellar and flawless all the time. They're going to make mistakes, and it's going to lead to something. And then you hit the long ball, and listen, you get an extra run because you were playing small ball, because you were being contact first, and being smart, and bunting, and moving guys over. That's how you have to play the game. That's how the game is meant to be played. And we're seeing a lot of teams go back to that. And the Yankees got to start. They started already. They got Cabby and stuff. That's why I want Brooks Lee. A guy like Schumann is great. You need a guy like McMahon every once in a while, a defensive first guy. Any extra offense is great. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. Hopefully he comes back from the injury. If he does, and he's still Aaron Judge. I mean, the Yankees could build on this and it could get really good, or it could still be really bad until we do something, or we just fall off of a cliff and never recover. And this was just a fluke game. But you hope it's not. You really hope it's not. Now, before I get to the comments, because we do have a few comments that I want to catch up on that I haven't been able to see. And I'm sorry for not having the bottom text for you guys that usually runs across my screen. I don't know why it wasn't working today for me, but I will make sure I try and get that up. Maybe I'll try and get it up during this live if I can, to pop it up real quick. But I want to bring up our little segment that we have throughout the show, and we just started, which is called Yankee in the Den. Now, I want you guys to guess this Yankee in the Den. Let me make this a little bigger for you guys, and I'll read it to you guys. So for this Yankee in the Den, it's a right-handed outfielder. He's a contact bat. He's got power. You could call him a power bat. He's got Gold Glove defense. He first played for the Pirates from 2009 to 2017. He played for San Francisco Giants in 2018, then got traded to the Yankees in 2018, then signed with the Phillies 2018 to 2021, Milwaukee Brewers in 2022, and now the Pittsburgh Pirates from 23 to 25. And his career highlights, he has 5 All-Stars. He's a 2013 National League MVP, a Gold Glove Award, 4-time Silver Slugger, a Roberto Clement Award winner. So let me know who you guys think this is in the comments. And I already see one comment. I'm not going to give it away. If you follow the IG and TikTok, which is, let me bring it up for you guys, which is right at the bottom. If you see Yankees_Den, follow us on Instagram, or follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and it will be there. And I will give you guys the answer on those pages. And tomorrow's live at the beginning, I will give away the answer. But if you want to know a little bit earlier before the show, look on Instagram and TikTok. But that is the Yankee in the Den segment for tonight. Thank you guys for that. Let me know your input, because I'm still trying to gauge input for that. If you guys like that, it gets you guys involved a little bit. So I just want to know your thoughts if you guys like me doing that and you want me to continue that segment. Now, Sal Fiorello, thank you for being in here. What's up? How are you? He says, good win today. Still don't like our odds this year. LOL. We got to see more. It could be a fluke game. Something to get excited about if it leads to something else and they get hot. But I understand that. And Paul says he has had 4 years. That's enough time. Send him to the National League. Are you talking about Volpe? In a sense. I'm sorry. I was reading the notes and I was getting into my notes and I didn't see this comment when I was saying it. So I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But Nicholas Termini says, and what's up, Nick? How are you? He says, just watched Michael K from yesterday go off on the team unfocused. Today was a turnaround game, but someone still needs to shock them back into focus, like setting down Volpe, Wells, or even Doval. I 100% agree. Excuse me. And why is Giovanni Cruz still not up with the team? I don't understand. Chivilli will actually get into. He's actually looked pretty good. And not pretty good, really good. I know it's a small sample size, but he has looked good. Wells needs to be sent to Mars, and Volpe needs to be never seen again in a Yankee uniform with Wells. And Nicholas says, today the Yankees play like the Rays, particularly Dominguez beating out that ground ball, stealing, making third on a soft hit, and Caballero hit and run. Also, Caballero stole a base, and then he was wrecking havoc on the base pads. He stole the base, the catcher threw it into the outfield, and he got to third. That's what you like to see, and that's what you mean by they play like the Rays today. That's what the Rays do. That's how you generate runs. So I love that comment. You're 100% right, Nicholas. And Paul says, Dominguez for me got to go too. The kid can't catch a routine fly ball. How do you overrun a pop-up? Trade him in a good package for proven players. Now, I do think it'll be Jones or Dominguez next year in the outfield for sure. I think one of them will be traded. I don't know who that would be yet or who I would even do. To me, either one could work out, so I don't know. Dominguez, yes, I mean, you could make the excuse of the dome and the ball blending in or hitting the catwalk or whatever. But yes, he's got to make that play, especially in a playoff game. In a playoff game, you can't say we're playing in the Trop, the dome's in my eyes, and it's blending in with the ball, and then you cost the game in the playoffs. You can't really make that excuse. So he's got to work on that a little bit, and we know that. But Celia says, personally, I don't think Dominguez should be traded. I like the contact bat and speed. And Celia, personally, and on the show, I have said, and with Jimmy, I actually like Dominguez. My dad doesn't like Dominguez. My my brothers don't really like Dominguez. They want to trade him. They're more of a Spencer Jones player. Spencer Jones fan, right? They like him. But Spencer Jones is more of what the Yankees are right now and what they have been. A power bat. And if he winds up being good and proves me wrong, I hope so. But this is what you see from hindsight on the outside looking in so far because we haven't seen him get consistent runway because he's always taken out versus a lefty. So I have to see that. But he's more of a swing and miss, home run or nothing type, like power or nothing type of guy who's going to strike out a lot. And Dominguez does have more of a contact bat. I would like to see his offense actually start getting a little better and him start to hit like 260, 270, 800 OPS. But he did get 2 hits today. He has been hitting and getting on at least once every game. It seems like he's doing something. And his defense has made improvements. It's still a struggle, but he has gotten better. Nicholas says, unfortunately, the Yankees are right in line to lose the ALDS to the Rays in 4 because everything is the exact same as it was last year with the Blue Jays. Exactly. The Blue Jays got hot. They weren't, and everybody was saying, well, all the Yankees analysts, well, their expected win and loss is way down or way up. They're playing way better and getting so lucky. The Yankees are getting unlucky. They should be in for it doesn't matter. It's what's actually going on. You can't live in a fairy tale of what ifs or made up stats that are in your dream. It's what currently is right in front of you, what you're looking at, what you're seeing. That's what you got to trust. They are just like the Blue Jays of last year. They've come out, they've emerged, they're playing the same type of ball, and they're going to beat you down in the playoffs. You got to execute. Paul says Dominguez is not our answer. Keeping him doesn't make us a World Series team, but he could be a good trade bait. He could be good trade bait, but I do think he would be a solid bench piece because he does run well. And I think if you pinch hit him and maybe keep him away in the outfield in the playoffs, but if you put him in to run or to hit for someone, I could see him maybe doing something in the playoffs. But I see your point. Celia says keeping him as a bench piece in the World Series will be what did I just say? Yes, exactly, Celia. And I promise I did not see that comment before I said that. Celia says you can use him as a pinch runner, or pinch hitter, pinch runner. LOL. I would only trade him if it's for a Mason Miller type. And bringing up Mason Miller is great because the Padres are playing very poorly. Is Mason Miller going to be available? And if he is, you absolutely go and get him. Paul says our prospects haven't been good for us. Well, I mean, Schlittler came up last year. He's turned out great. Ben Rice came up a few years ago. He's turned out great. Yes, Dominguez has been a little bit of a letdown with all the injuries and stuff. Volpe, obviously, Wells, yes. Oswaldo Cabrera got injured, and now it doesn't look like he's the same. So, yes, Will Warren as well. He's taken a major step, but he's still a little, shaky. So, yes, you would like to see more guys work out, but you got to get the go with the bad, I guess. And Cecile Shaughnessy says, love the layout. Thank you, Cecile. Thank you for being in here and watching. Gregory says, yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, Zoe? What's up, Gregory? How are you? Thank you for joining on this fine night. It is July 9th. Man, July is flying by. The summer's flying by in general. But thank you for, being here, commenting, giving me your thoughts. And Paul says, definitely, Lorenzo, you're doing great job, buddy. Thank you. I 100% appreciate that. I appreciate all the support and everything. Thank you guys so much. I couldn't be happier. I love doing this, talking to you guys, communicating, no matter who's in here. I love all the support and all the comments. I love talking to you guys. I love talking baseball. And Paul says yes to Volpe going back I answered his comment. He said he had 4 years in here, so to ship him out. So thank you for clarifying that. And Gregory says, how many home runs will Rice end up with? And I will end up with at the end of the year. And I was actually thinking about this earlier. I think Ben Rice could hit 45, but he's the guy that honestly could get to 50. He could get to 50 in years and hit that mark. But I think maybe 40, 45. How many is he at right now? 27, 28? Nicholas says, I'm a big fan of Giovanni Cruz and Chivilli. Yes, Giovanni Cruz, me definitely. I want to see more of Chivilli, see what he's got, but he's looked actually really good. And if you watch what he had with Colorado, he actually had good stuff. He just needed control. And maybe Matt Blake can unlock that and has unlocked that. Gregory says, where's Jimmy tonight? You got to ask him yourself when he comes back on the pod. He's got work, so he's not here. So, whenever Jimmy joins, he joins. But I will always be here doing the live for you guys, no matter what. And Paul says, maybe we get 50-50 out of Rice. Rice and Greg, LOL. That would be great. Yes, I mean, I hope that would be absolutely insane. That would be spectacular, but that's something that he can reach. And Gregory says, I think Rice ends up with 43. Yeah, that's a good number. I think he'll end up somewhere in that range. And he says, if he ends up with 50-50, I will go bonkers, Paulo. Yeah, I mean, that would be insane. You think he could steal 50 bags? You think Ben Rice is capable of stealing 50 bases? I don't know. I haven't seen that speed. I want to see that. But Celia says, totally agree. I see the same thing happening this year to the Yankees as last year. The Rays have that same pesky vibe to them. Yep, perfectly said. And let's see. Gregory says he's at 28 now. Thanks for clarifying that. So honestly, yeah, I think somewhere in the 40s, I see that. So, and Celia says, I see a lot more potential in Jones than I do in Volpe. I will say, well, listen, anyone has more potential than Volpe as of right now, what he's done in the majors. He was a real bust, man. But Nicholas says, and the last comment I'm going to read, and then I'm going to go on to the notes, because we've been talking, and I love this, the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe to support the video and get it out there and help me with the algorithm. I appreciate it so much. But I want to get onto the notes because we're 47 minutes in, and we're reading all these notes, and I still got comments, and I still got some notes I want to get into, and I actually want to deep dive into. So Nicholas says, let's a moment to recognize the pitching matchup Saturday, which is Schlittler versus Miles BP Michaelis. I know the Yankees wouldn't be favored if Jimmy Tomrio was the pitcher, but that's a lopsided matchup. Listen, in that game, you're going to wind up having Schlittler give up 10 runs and Miles Michaelis throwing a perfect game against us. A complete game, a perfect game, a Maddox, all in one. He's going to dice us up. You just wait. He's going to dice us up. Every pitcher that's BP to all these other teams is Roger Clemens against us. So we'll see what happens. But I want to bring up a little bit into Max Schumann. And the Yankees, and he actually said after the game, the Yankees had a hitters meeting, a pregame hitters meeting before the game, and they talked. And Jazz said to work good at bats, be patient, grind at bats, calm down, slow things down and stuff like that. And even though we get on Jazz a little bit for being lazy, and the only reason why we get on Jazz in this podcast is because he has potential to be good, but he shoots himself in the foot when he does some of the things he does. But even Jazz saying that, and guys coming together and having a meeting and all talking and all pitching in, whether it's veterans, new guys, no matter who it is, young players. You love to see a team meeting and hear about that and bring the guys together. Have conversations. Be real with each other. What's actually going on? Dive deep into what you guys need to improve on. and figure it out and grind it out as a group together. That's what I love from hearing that. I hope they were all speaking up, but I absolutely love to hear that. I really do. And, you know, even though a player like Jazz, like I said, it's great to hear you want to hear that from him. Now, Cabby back at shortstop, played 3 of the 4 games, right? They won 2 of the 3. And that's what you want to see. Everyone's coming back. And as they're getting healthier, you're seeing Cabby at shortstop more. And that's great to see because when Judge comes back and all these guys, you would think that they would still play Volpe, but they might actually wind up sticking with Caballero at shortstop. He drove in a run. He still produced. Excuse me. He played good defense. Things you love to see going on within the Yankees. Now, something came out. I want to touch on it brief. Is Volpe? I saw something that he didn't. He said he didn't say that wouldn't play second base, or he didn't deny that. Something to that effect. But if that's true, and someone's lying, that's bad communication within the team and between the team. And that signals to me that Volpe might be traded. Because you've seen that happen before with guys. So I think that signals that he might be on the move. But getting into our next set of notes, and we actually have a comment. And Chris D, welcome in. How are you, Chris? And he says, "Oh, my boy Lorenzo, how hyped did you get during that 3rd inning with all those great Yankee at-bats and runs scored?" Listen, I was out, right? I was helping my high school coach with he had a little bit of a camp going on. So I was help coaching that, you know, and it finished up around it was like the 2nd inning or whatever. So I was trying to get home, trying to watch the game. And I just got home, I was unwinding a little bit, took care of myself, got on my TV, put on the game, and actually started to watch it and relax. And then the 3rd inning happens perfectly in time, and I was amazed. It was greatness happening right in front of my eyes. I was so happy. I was the proudest Yankees analyst podcaster in the world when I was seeing that happen. I was like, are they gonna blow out the Rays and actually have a calming sit back Thursday night, Thursday day, and sit back and they're gonna have a nice easy win? I mean, it got me excited. And Chris says once Lorenzo got in front of his TV, good stuff happened. Yes, I mean, am I the good luck? Maybe I am. I gotta go to a game soon. I actually might go to, and I'm looking at tickets, so I might go to the deadline day game, and they're playing St. Louis at home, so I might go to that game. I went to deadline day last year, and it was spectacular. It was so much fun. Went with a couple of my boys. Most fun I've had at a Yankee game. Trades going down because the Yankees were playing against the Rays, actually. This was when, I don't know if you guys remember last year, Giancarlo Stanton runs into Jonathan Aranda and hurts his arm or something like that, and Aranda has to sit out for the next few games, and he goes on the IL. That game, and the rain is coming down, so there's a break for 2 hours, 3 hours, and me and my friends are sitting there and not getting rained on. Obviously, we're inside or where it's covered, right? And we're just sitting down in chairs, and stuff is breaking. Bednar, Doval, Bird, all these trades are Caballero, all these trades are happening. It was the most fun. So I'm telling you, if you haven't yet, and you want to experience a Yankee game, go on deadline day. It is fantastic because all the trades are happening and you're there with everybody else reacting to it. All the fans were reacting to we were all reacting together while stuff was going down. I mean, I was with my boys, and Caballero just got traded, getting a little sidetracked. Caballero just gets traded, and the fan in front of us were screaming at each other like, let's go. And he thinks it's Junior Caminero who got traded to the Yankees, and Caminero is at third base in the field, and we're right at by the third base dugout, by the Rays dugout, and he's screaming, Caminero, get off the field, you're traded. And Caminero looked up at us like what we were talking about. And then the security guard was looking at our phone like, what is we were dying. I mean, the kid was screaming at Caminero to come off the field because he thought he was traded. It was insane. Yeah, it was so fun. But Chris says we need you live streaming the games. Yes, and actually, thank you for bringing that up. I'm actually gonna start doing that. If you guys want, and let me get your feedback tonight in the comments. Chris, thanks for bringing it up. I'm actually gonna go live during when I don't have work during the week sometimes, a few times a month. I'm actually gonna go live, watch the game with you guys. Obviously, I can't display it, but I'll sit here live, I'll watch the game, and we'll talk. We'll just, you know, BS. We'll joke around, we'll have some fun, we'll watch the game, get into it. We're definitely gonna do that. 100%. And deadline day, if I don't go to the game, oh, me and Jimmy are doing a huge stream on deadline day. We're already mapping it out. So don't even worry. And Paul says, I know your dad. I know he gets you guys to a lot of games. I'm sure you got more coming. You gotta live from a game. Yes, I am gonna do that. I will go live from my phone and I will go for a little bit, 5-10 minutes, whatever it is, show you guys I'm in the stadium, Paul, and I'll make sure I get that out there for you guys. Maybe I'll have to try the chicken bucket ice cream. I'll try for you guys on stream. We'll get creative. We're gonna get a little fun with it. Don't even worry. We will. And Chris says, I'm there. LOL, is Jimmy still alive? He's still alive. He's at work tonight and he's been working a lot lately. So, and ask him when he comes back on because I don't want to speak for him. Let's see. Maybe, you know what I mean? But he's been working. He has been. So, he's been a little bit tired, but when he comes back on and feels free to come back on, he'll come back on. But as I said before, I'll always be here for you guys and live and talk about the Yankees. And this next set of notes brought to you by Richards Painting in Barnegat, New Jersey. Let me pop that up for you guys. Follow them on Instagram. No space, no caps. Richards Painting, Barnegat, NJ. That's their number. They're great service. They're got great reviews. If you need painting done, give them a call. Go follow them on Instagram. And yeah, thank you for the sponsor of today's video and live. And this is my favorite topic. I'm sorry that you guys had to wait this long. I hope some of you are still in here. And for the ones who are not, I hope you watch this when it's published. My favorite part of this video that I wanted to get into is Brian Cashman talked to the media today. And he was finally in attendance for what has been an atrocious bunch of games. Now we have some things to go over. Cashman says our catching problem, he was asked about it, and he said it's an issue clearly. It clearly is an issue. And that's good acknowledgement. I don't believe something till I see it, but that's great acknowledgement. And before I get on that, Paulo said Jimmy is probably sitting in Monument Park praying to the Yankees gods. Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he is, actually. But, I mean, and Sam says, fix your mic. It sounds muffled. Is this better? Was I maybe too close to it? Is this a little bit better for you guys? Was it a little muffled? I can't really hear the output, but it sounds fine. So just let me know. Thanks for the input. And going back, Paulo says, I know your dad. He'll get you guys a lot of games. Shout out to my dad, actually. Love my dad so much. He does bring us to a lot of games. So fortunate for that. But getting back is he acknowledges the catching issue. And that is huge for the Yankees. And for him to realize that. Because he's definitely going to make a move for catcher. 100% I think that's going to happen. And he acknowledged the bad stretch, and you want him to acknowledge it. but he acknowledges things sometimes and then he'll do nothing about it. So we got to see moves being made and we got to make them quick because Wells can't be the catcher for another month. Cashman also says Aaron Judge will get re-imaging over the All-Star break. They don't think it'll show it's fully healed or he's, cleared to get ramped up and start, progressing. But they just want to see if it's showing healing. If it's look like it is healing at all, which is going to be a big thing. And I hope, pray to God, everyone, that he is fine and it's healing right and quick. Now, Giancarlo Stanton, he is injured and he injured his calf and then he was coming back and he tweaked it again. Now, Brian Cashman says he re-injured it, but it wasn't the same spot. It wasn't the same injury that he retweaked. He hurt a different part in the calf. Something completely not the same from his last calf injury that he was coming back from. So that's not really good. I mean, Stanton had a calf injury. He went down, and he's going to be back in September with a calf injury. You got to start exploring his contract after this year. I think so. I think they should. He's clogging up that position. And also Brian Cashman says he thinks Boone has done a good job. He hasn't seen anything different. The June swoon is just something good teams go through stretches. I mean, he was just like, it happens to be this time of year every year. Then something's got to change. Something isn't working for this time. Something's not working. Something's not lasting. The managers aren't, coaching the right way. If your guys are getting fatigued and hitting this spot every time, especially your bullpen. So, I mean, I don't know. He's not going to move on from Boone. But also, like Celia said earlier, is Cashman said Lombard could be a choice in the second half at some point. That is great, huge. I hope they don't rush him, but if he comes up and he's spectacular, his defense looking to be good and everything like that, it could be really good and it could get really exciting. So now Max Schumann, real quick, last touch up on him because we're touching up on all these guys a lot, but they won and they hit good. Schumann did good today. He had 2 hits again, 2 for 4, 2 runs. Take advantage of every single shot he's given. I love that guy. Angel Shavili, in a small sample size, he's looked spectacular. His changeup looks good. His other pitches look good. He throws hard. This is a Matt Blake masterclass. This might be. He's got a 1.35 ERA. He's got to stay up. And you might only need to get 1 or 2 relievers at the deadline and start integrating in from within. Now, the last topic before we get into our probables and then end this stream and close it out. Thank you for everybody watching. Subscribe for daily Yankees news. Is a report came out today that Corey Seager could be available for the Yankees if the Rangers eat a lot of money. Now, Seager, I liked. And I still do like. Well, he gets injured way too much. He's like a Stanton, but at shortstop. He's just not reliable to stay on the field. He would be great at Yankee Stadium, but I don't think that you should put yourself and dig yourself in another hole with an injured guy like that. Even though I like him and he could be good, don't put yourself in that position. But I think that's really interesting because we had talks with him or with the Rangers about him in the offseason. Also, the Yankees have been linked to San Francisco Giants' Casey Schmidt, who plays third base, and he's been hitting really solid. Set 275. Good defense, hits good. He could be an upgrade over third, even though I like McMahon. He could be an upgrade, and you put McMahon on the bench. He's a defensive replacement. A reliever the Yankees could go for is Garrett Whitlock on the Red Sox. Got a lot of good stuff. They've been heating up as of late, so who knows? Robbie Ray could be a starting pitcher the Yankees target if they package for Casey Schmidt or Luis Arraez. Josh Hader is a guy the Yankees could get for the pen. Another bat is Mickey Moniak of the Rockies. We have a good history with the Rockies, trading Rumfield, taking McMahon, getting Chivilli, getting Bird. So Mickey Moniak could be a guy that the Yankees could scoop up on. I think an under the radar guy that's not really talked about, Spencer Steer of the Reds. He's underrated and he's a great hitter. Another reliever, Luke Weaver, who's been phenomenal. I would like to see a reunion. He ended bad with us, so let him come back and redeem himself a little bit. Brooks Raley, another pitcher from the Mets bullpen that could be good for us. These are a lot of guys that I just named that could be potential fits. There are going to be a lot of rumors and stuff going around, so this could be an interesting deadline. Now, getting into tomorrow's matchup for the New York Yankees. It is the Yankees versus the Washington Nationals at 6:45 p.m. at Washington. They're playing the Nationals in their stadium. It will be broad streamed or streamed on Yes, Fox, and the matchup is Ryan Weathers, who has a 4.29 ERA and is 3-7 on the year, versus Carson Palmquist, who's got a 7.11 ERA and he's 0-1. I have no clue who that guy is. He's a lefty, but hopefully Ryan Weathers could figure it out and start putting together nice starts. He had a few, then he had a bad one. Let him, I think he's going to go to the pen, but hopefully he can have a good start and stay afloat for us until we get Fried back. The Yankees hopefully build on this tomorrow. It's a lefty. We'll love to see Cabby back at shortstop. And, we'll like to see McMahon still there against the lefty, but I think you'll see Rosario. I think you will see Schumann again tomorrow. Maybe Paul Goldschmidt, Ben Rice, obviously, and maybe Dominguez. I don't know what we're gonna see, but I'm expecting the platoons that we don't like. But hopefully they attack, they build on this, and they take the series against Washington. And Celia closing comment says tomorrow might be an L. Weathers has been awful lately. He has been, even though he's had 2 good starts in the middle of that. And he was good at the beginning. That's why I want to believe in him. And he's been good and he can be good. He has so much potential. He's just hasn't been healthy. So he's fatigued a little bit, I believe. And the bullpen will be much better for him. But hopefully he shows out tomorrow, gives us something, 3 or less runs, 5 to 6 innings is what I'm hoping for. Facing the Nationals, good young team. They have James Wood. They have CJ Abrams. They have I forget one of the kids at second base who's been hitting good. They're a good young team. They got a lot of good guys on that team. They could be a little feisty, a little bit to handle. So just attack early, put them down, and win the series. Stop messing around and win the series. That's all I have for you guys tonight on the Yankees Den podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed and had a great time. I loved going through the comments and the chats and all your support. Thank you guys for tuning in on a Thursday night. A little bit of an earlier stream than I usually do. But let's go Yankees. As always, like, subscribe for Yankees Daily News, trade rumors, injury updates. And I'll see you tomorrow.